Hey grade 9, this is your daily video. Today's focus will be on the paragraphs for your qualitative questions. You should, last weekend, have made your surveys and sent them out. They should have included questions, qualitative questions, one per survey, but it shouldn't have looked like this. This is a what not to do. So what do you like about e-learning? That could be a checklist. 5 things, they just check what they like. How has learning online been for you? Could be multiple choice. Again, pick one. Why do you like e-learning? Could be a checklist. What problems come with e-learning? Could be a checklist. They just pick however many from the things you give them. All of these could be quantifiable questions really easily. If you've done questions like these, you're wrong and you should have watched the video. Your questions should look like this. Oh, that's dark. Please describe in as much detail. So please describe in as much detail what your typical day teaching online looks like. That's an example. Please justify in as much detail what you think, or why you think either online learning or physical learning is better. Please explain in as much detail your reasons for increased or decreased stress during this time, and please provide examples of student improvement since learning online has begun. Now, the difference between these and these is that, again, these could be a checklist or multiple choice, and therefore they can be quantified. These are going to give you paragraph responses, which will give you a deeper look into people's answers now. If you remember, quantitative research is looking at many people, but really shallow questions, because you can't do big paragraph response and analyze them for thousands of people, but you can do a multiple choice for thousands of people. Qualitative research, less people, deeper response. Again, it's in earlier videos. Now, this was an analysis for a quantitative question. They've given context, question, responses, graph, key, repeated or re-explained what's in the graph in their own words, and then analysed. That's a quantitative question. I'm just focusing on some qualitative ones. So there's one paragraph. This is looking at the answers teachers gave. So I'll read it out to you. Most of the teachers at AIS Egypt, the subjects of this survey, have found online learning to be easy yet debilitating for students who are not very active or fall below learning standards. According to one teacher, some students have used it as an opportunity to do even less, with similar reports from several teachers that, for some, assignments are sloppy, plagiarized, or not handed in at all. They've embedded quotes from the paragraphs the teachers sent. We've got 2 different answers here from 2 different teachers. One teacher said this, a similar report here. Perhaps due to the lack of structure, students feel there is less accountability and therefore feel as though they can get away with little work. These could be the types of students who are prone to these kinds of behaviours at school, but feel the physical environment provides a sense of authority and, as a result, are less likely to behave in such a way at school. Analysis. Moreover, rapid change has resulted in lower results for specific classes and grade levels. A particular challenge, especially prominent in subjects that involve physical activities like PE, is to find workouts that all students want to do without myself as the teacher pushing to make sure they do it. Again, put the quote in there. A major challenge for teachers has been to, quote, adapting a performance-based curriculum for individual diverse learners under the already restrictive conditions of quarantine. Now, let's just look at that answer really quick. Adapting a performance-based curriculum for individual diverse learners under the already restrictive conditions of quarantine. How has learning online been for you? I could answer that, but I could also answer good. Please justify in as much detail why you think online learning or physical learning is better. That makes me answer longer stuff. That sounds bad. That's going to enforce me to answer in a longer format and give you more reasons, more examples, more justification. Okay, that's why these questions are bad. If I want answers like this one in red here, They're the questions I need to be asking. So I'll continue. Some students are already below the level academically and cannot adapt well to the new conditions of online learning, and this may lead to them falling behind others in the process. This is similar to young years, wherein there has been a true challenge to have students learn new platform, which is very difficult on top of having tech issues that I cannot help them with. Elementary students cannot possibly learn online without online techniques as quickly as middle or high school students and therefore need constant parent supervision and support, which not all students have, unfortunately. Some positive issues regarding online learning is that some elementary students have actually learned how to use these applications and become far more independent and practice more writing and typing than they normally would have. And then closing sentence, overall teachers have found transition e-learning not very simple, time consuming and requiring more effort than traditional classroom settings. Look at the stuff in red, there's quite a lot in there. Okay, and they're answers that are longer than what would be given from a multiple choice. Now, this question is a qualitative paragraph, or looks at the qualitative questions responses that the teachers gave. That's one way you can do it. And then they have another one where they've looked at answers the students give. As for the students at the American International School, the subjects of the second survey, most of them have experienced some academic strains due to a lack of personalised approach to teaching and learning and less communication between teachers and students. There you go, topic sentence, what plus the how or the why. One student in particular has specified that, One student in particular has specified that, to quote, some classes are harder to understand without being in person, and if there are like videos, they're typically hard to keep up with. Again, long answer from a student, you wouldn't get that in a multiple choice. Solving assignments on time has also been an issue the students were unable to cope with, as several assignments have been assigned daily and sometimes they cannot finish them on time to meet their specific deadlines. However, another student has concluded that the fact that online learning is hard and time consuming. However, with a positive and required mindset, you can feel good and not miss anything. This possibly reflects that the student attitudes are just as important as lesson materials and deadlines, yet this has not been easy for others who find focusing on courses within a computer daily as boring and academically demotivating. These two long answers, again, you won't get from multiple choice. Similarly, communication has been a reported issue for some students. Some students were mostly complaining from lack of one-to-one help during their tasks, that teachers take a longer time to reply to questions, which causes them to not fully understand everything in each class. As one can imagine, having 150 student questions via email a day on top of grading and lesson preparation is far more time consuming than answering questions from large groups of students in allocated class time. Analysis. Overall, this is the closing sentence. Overall, the transition to e-learning has not been all that smooth for students but has eased up the pressure of daily learning and providing different setting than the traditional classroom and teaching methods they were accustomed to for years. Now, that's one way of doing it. You can just do a paragraph about teachers and a paragraph about students. But if you start to notice themes like lack of social interaction, more work, whatever, you can just do a paragraph about theme and include teacher and student responses. So this is an example of that. Socially, both teachers and students at AIS are severely impacted and suffering as a result of lack of communication and social interactions. Theme, socially, lack of communication, social interactions. There's my theme. But I'm talking about teachers and students. This has been a large complaint from students. An elementary student surveyed stated that he's missing his friends in school and he misses playing with them outside and having fun. Similarly, elder students miss their best friends and miss lunchtime and playing soccer with friends and miss social activity. For many students, particularly young students, social interaction is one of the most important parts of schooling. In a given day, a student could be exposed to between 20 and 80 peers, depending on how mixed each class was. To now go only interact with the immediate family must be quite a shock to the system. There's my analysis. Now look at these answers. You wouldn't get those in a checklist, a multiple choice, or a Likert scale. Furthermore, another student said that instead of learning online, closing school temporarily and restarting school would have been better academically, since interaction with others is mentally healthy and feel that home is associated with taking a break and relaxing, and should thus not be a place to learn, study, and do daily assignments in addition to larger coursework. This is only doubly stressful for students during a time where a global pandemic is constantly on the news and fear is rife. Poor social interactions, lots of work, and the fear of a global virus may have serious effects on learners. There we go. Again, nice big quotes and some analysis. On the other hand, similar reports are coming from teachers. So all of this is about students, this is about teachers. One teacher reported that they are beginning to feel a little more unfit and unhealthy due to the lack of structure in his life. Sorry, that's actually my answer. As they are exercising a lot less and eating a lot more. Another teacher echoed this by saying their sleep pattern has changed drastically. That should be in red. The immediate and drastic change to people's daily structure and an inability to fill their days outside have caused some to get poorer sleep and diets with no access or desire to exercise. Again, this will have ramifications for the future. And then a closing sentence which sums it all up. Now the point here really is that you can choose how to do your paragraphs. You can do it by theme, or you can just do your student one and your teacher one. It's up to you. And also, I just want you to notice the difference between these and this. Here, we're just going 72% said no, 28% said yes. I'm having a guess, and this is why I think that. Here are two guesses as to why. I don't really know. They're just guesses. I use words like, where are we? Perhaps, could, might, could, might, maybe, may. So I use words like that because they're just guesses. Interpretation, maybe that. Whereas here, I've got nice long full answers. I don't need to make an interpretation because they've given me the details. You see the difference? Yes or no? I have to make a guess from that. Why? I don't know. They haven't said why. They've just said yes. They've just said no. I'm guessing why. Here, they've explained why. Okay? So that's why your questions should have looked like this. All right? Guys, this is due tomorrow at midnight, the full analysis on your website. Make sure everything's done. You press publish, you send the link. Please, 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 please look at the rubric. Okay? Good luck.